So this is part 2 of my journal for the March 21st. Now I think I did a couple I went over a couple of my crude trades in the last video, but now I'm gonna restart them and just do them all over again really quick. But here, starting with the crude, I spent most of my time trying to short crude. Started at 64.33 at around 9:39, so 6:39. So right after the market opened, I was looking for a failed breakout above 64.25. We did not get it. Went short at 64.33. Got stopped out at 64.39. So yeah, I got stopped out at 64.39 after it didn't work, and then so that was the first trade into the day in oil and crude. Second one was going to be at 9:57. It's around 7 o'clock. Tried shorting again. Let's get a little bit closer in. So here, as we're going along here, 9:57. So here I start to see it fail. I'm thinking we're gonna actually break down this time. So I short there. We start breaking down. It comes back, stops me out at 64.35, and then continues on its way down. And then I try again at 64.28. And then I believe I saw myself out at 64.29 because I decided that obviously I feel like I'm not going to get what I want out of this trade, so I decided to just go ahead and stop there. But that's usually what my common mistake tends to be. I tend to have an idea, and it's obviously not a well thought out idea, as in the fact that there's not much of an edge behind it. And I think that's one of the problems here that arose with this particular trades that I was trying to participate in. That I was looking for something that might have not had a real edge there or real substance behind it. I mean, this trade, there isn't anywhere else in this past couple of days where shorting below 64.25 has worked. Why should it work in this small instance on this 1 minute chart? I think I should have looked for a stronger area to which to short instead of just shorting whatever falls into my lap. I think that's what my problem was going into here. Even though, I mean, I did have another one of my reasons into shorting this was maybe shorting it into the inventories report was a good idea, so that so that we could allow it to do after it did after the report, and maybe we can get a short into it. But obviously it did not work, and I still think the mistake was shorting into something that had no real substance behind it, and maybe looking for an area where that situation has been proven before. Obviously, shorting 64.25 has not been proved anywhere before, so there was no strong edge there. So that's what I believe was a mistake into trading into this particular trade idea. Moving forward into crude, we watched it spike. I didn't do anything into the inventories report. I'd rather just let it do its thing and then participate as we went along. But again, I got back into the idea of shorting. I was thinking maybe we could short it below 65, back down to 64.80, or back down to 64.65. But obviously it did not do that, and when it did, I do believe I went short at around 64. Time-wise, I went short at 69.53. Got stopped out at 956. Okay, take a quick look here. So that it's 4 minutes later. Yeah. So yeah, I got stopped out of here at 65.11. Got in at 65.04, looking for a short. Eventually, we did get a small short into 65, but I was not there to participate in it. And then I just tracked it as we went along, and I do believe I went short again at 65.01. Right after the 10 o'clock mark here at 10:02, I went short at 65.01, thinking we were going to possibly break the 65 area finally. But it had actually held it for a long time, up until for 40 minutes it stood here. So that kind of represents some of the strength that that we were holding that level. Or actually, you can also tell that liquidity simply dried up at this particular point in time. That might have led to not allowing any action to take place. But here, then eventually I got out at 65.02. 40 minutes later, simply because it just wasn't working, and I decided this wasn't worth it. And then here comes my mistake of the day into CL. Decided to short again, thinking we were gonna get a short from, we touched the 65, we went to this to the resistance part of this balanced area, and thought we could possibly get a short here. Thought this was a short in progress, and then it ended up getting sucked into it at 65.01, turned against me. Thought I got out at 65.10, but in reality I added another position, another contract to my short, and ended up clearing out at 65.14 for a loss, due to a clumsy mistake, even though we shouldn't have been in the trade in the first place, and really this was, if anything, it was a buy into 65.20. But I did not wait for the close on the candle. I did not wait for confirmation, and acted simply on my bias of going short. So I really got to work on coming in with no bias and looking for a strong edge again. There was no strong edge in shorting 65, as we could tell here. The edge wasn't trading within the range, buying 65 and selling 65.20. That was the edge in this trade. But this was my last crude trade. I did go into, I tried one trade in the Qs, looking again for a short. I think I was just on a roll for shorts. I was trying to short everything. Really recent into this newly found balanced area, probably too soon in trying to short. So eventually I got stopped out I went short at 69.1850, got stopped out at 69.2175. A couple minutes later, was looking for a breakdown to the downside, did not get it. Bad trade, just simply no strong edge, and simply trying to force myself into a situation that, there was no really a strong case for it, as I was trying to convince myself. Then went into Russell's again, tried to short here at 1584.9, thinking we were breaking down below this area of support, and which we did, but then it bounced back up, stopped me out at 1585.4 after I got in at 1584.9, and then went my way, but I was no longer in a trade. And then again, I didn't just immediately participate back in it, but I did want to attempt to short it again, and I thought this 1584.5 area, or just going below into the low 1584, was a good enough confirmation. Got short there at 1584.5, 5 and got stopped out at 1584.7. So I stopped myself out, simply deciding there was nothing much going on. As you can tell, very little volatility. I believe as well we were going into the FOMC meeting, so simply no participants. So I feel like everybody was just waiting for the FOMC, so I should have kind of gotten that into my head. But again, waiting for a strong edge, waiting for a trade of substance, somewhere where there is a good case to be made for why we should participate in the trade instead of trying to participate in everything that we see. I feel like that was a key. Those were key factors in today's trading. Just simply waiting for a setup or a strong case, waiting for a strong edge, looking for substance in the structure of the market, to where we can clearly identify where levels have worked and not worked, and trade off those, and use that as a reasonable, as a strong case to place my trade. As we did with the good trades that did work, those are examples where we had past, we had where we could make a strong case where this trade has possibly worked in the past and could most likely work again. So those were the good trades that I made today. So going into tomorrow, sticking to the basics, just trying to trade one instrument, one contract, wait for that one swing. If there's a range to be traded, trade it well. Look for a strong edge in that range, not try to just get carried away and try to trade every balance area, aka range, that we see. So that's going to be the plan going into tomorrow. Working on being prepared coming into tomorrow, identifying strong levels. That's going to be really key. So yeah, that's going to be it going into tomorrow. Strong levels, presenting a good case, strong edge, looking for that strong edge, areas of where strong edge can be found.